that the West promotes, especially the feminist movement, is that men and women are equal. Men and women are equal. Now, in the deen of Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives rights and duties based on the nature in which He created us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create men and women different and then simply just make them equal in every aspect. That is not from hikmah. However, from the hikmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is that He created men in a certain fashion and that He created women in a certain fashion. He gave men certain duties and He gave women certain duties. And He gave men certain responsibilities and He gave women likewise certain responsibilities. All of that because that is how He created them. And so the responsibilities and the duties that He gives each gender is based, if a woman prays and a man prays, they are equal in their reward. If they fast in Ramadan, they both are rewarded equally. And so from the aspect of being rewarded, yes, for certain acts of worship, yes, we are equal. However, as it pertains to our roles in the household and in society, then that is something different. So the deen of Islam takes into consideration the nature of men and women. The nature of men and women with regards to responsibilities and roles. And the Western culture abolishes that altogether. They rid of that altogether. And so their equality is not based on anything. Their equality is not based on anything. Rather, it stems from an atheistic and agnostic, any secular mentality. That, as is the same for all of their other beliefs, that now we have in Islam that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that legislates for us these things. We believe, we do such and such, and we fulfill these roles because it is legislated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is the musharri' for us, that gives us our legislation. And so we are servants of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us, so we follow them. That notion does not exist when it pertains to the kuffar. They don't follow any type of doctrine as it pertains to their roles in society and in life. They don't follow that. And that comes from an atheistic belief that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no governing over life. That is from their belief. And which movements follow that doctrine? Feminism, secularism, liberalism. All of these movements have this same thing in common, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not in the equation as it pertains to how we live our lives. That we live our lives how we wish, how we want. That no one can tell us what to do. No one can dictate to me as a sister or as a woman what my role is. Likewise, a brother, no one can tell me that I have to provide for a woman. No one. All of these views don't come from just you being sophisticated and you think because you're educated that you've figured out something special. No, you've been brainwashed. You've been brainwashed to believe that there's a way to success and happiness other than your deen. Other than your deen. And you find many brothers and sisters who go through the university system, if they don't have a basis in their deen, they become affected by this type of thinking and this way of thinking. And so you'll find brothers then, if they're looking to get married, coming to a sister saying 50-50. Sister, we're living in times now where things are difficult, inflation, right? Things are not as cheap as it was in the past. You gotta, bring in some money too. So the views now changed and everything changed because this is the mentality or the belief that we're adopting. Whereas if we knew our deen and how we see life and how we live our lives was based on our religion, then these things would not be seen. then these things would not be seen.